Hey howdy, hey y'all, welcome back to the channel. About 6 months ago, I made a video basically saying that Dead Island 2 was in the running for Game of the Year to me. Since that video came out, I've sunk a couple hundred hours into the game waiting for the day that we get an expansion. Ladies and gentlemen, that expansion is here. Dead Island 2 just recently got its first expansion called Haus. I want to break down my experience with this expansion and let you know if it's worth the price. So before we get into it, if you like what you've seen today, then like and sub for more content like this. Okay, let's get into it. I'm gonna break down the story first, then get into my thoughts, so if you don't want any spoilers, skip to this timestamp on the screen. We start off this expansion by picking up an invitation card dripping a black sludge-like substance that's sitting outside of the Bel Air safe house. After picking up the card, we pass out and wake up in front of a dark, twisted, and fortified version of a Malibu Vista. Inside the walls of the Vista is a fortress that is layers upon layers of depravity, because this is the grounds of a billionaire's techno death cult. Once you infiltrate the walls of this cult, there are 3 bodies without heads that you need to find the heads for. Thankfully, one of the heads is on the floor in front of its body, so you pick it up and homie decides to scare some shit into your pants. You find out that the dude's name is Vincent and tells you that the guy behind everything the cult does is called Constantine. Just for some clarification, Constantine's religion and beliefs align almost perfectly with some of the most notorious doomsday cults in American history. Your character asks Vincent how he's alive, and he says quote unquote technology. Then he carries on about how you're one of Constantine's chosen. Obviously, your character is super skeptical about all this shit, so Vincent says, quote, "So your plane wasn't shot down, huh, bitch boy?" Maybe he doesn't say it like that. But Vincent essentially clarifies that the only reason why we're here is because we are one of the chosen ones. We obviously want to see this guy, so when we inquire about it, Vincent says, yeah, he's on the other side of the door. You also need 2 more heads before the door opens. Let's worry about Veronique's head first, which is in a place she calls the Deeper. To reach her, you have to experience our rite of passage. So you step into a room, press a button on a pedestal, and a screen opens up to a grassy meadow-like area with a few houses. In the first house, you have to burn a weapon in your inventory as a sacrificial rite of passage. After burning an item, you're then instructed to endure some pain. So you go stand in a pool of blood and get shocked until some TVs power on and you progress through the house as normal. The final rite of passage has us admitting something heinous into the microphone before a zombie busts out of the TV wearing a mask of our face. We beat their ass, and that concludes the rite of passage. After that, we venture into the Deeper, navigate through its halls to find Veronique's head. We meet her and get into a fight to see if this cult is really considered a cult. She then says in layman's terms, "We tried to get you fuck-ass bastards ready before the zombies got here. Admittingly, the timing wasn't the best. Regardless, we tried helping." Our character sits there and is confused for a quick second, and then we snatch her head, run it through the tunnels, and put it back on her body. She then tells us that we need to go get Young-Ho's head from the diner, which is in another area like the one we just came out of. But before we can get this dude's head, pause, we have to go get a special weapon. This special weapon is the highlight weapon that comes with the expansion, the crossbow. Once we get the crossbow, we escape the Deeper again, go back to the forest, open up a gate, and get to the diner where we fight a giant police officer. You better have some nice ass melee weapons because bullets won't hurt this guy. He's genuinely one of the toughest bosses I've encountered in Dead Island 2 to date. After whooping this fucker's ass, we take homie's head, pause, and run it all the way back to the starting area. You give Young-Ho's head back and bro starts tweaking and tries to kill you. After killing Young-Ho, the giant door opens and you're then greeted with what seems like a cross between a hotel room and a triage bay. Shortly after entering this area, you're asked to go talk to a screen that has a dog on it. The voice that speaks out to you from the TV is Constantine. Why he's a dog, I have no fucking clue. But Constantine isn't even a dude. He's self-admittingly an AI who's brought your character here and shows proof by sending you on a flashback. Where does the flashback take you, you might want to ask? To the prologue mission of Dead Island 2 after the plane crashed. Yeah, apparently Joshua and Angelina were part of Constantine's death cult, or from what I was able to gather from the story so far. Constantine mentions an ark where he keeps the infected minds safe while their bodies are left here to roam on Earth. A woman named Hope that our character knows says, "Hey, we're in the ark, but we need some help. Come help us, goddammit." Again, I'm paraphrasing for time. We are now tasked with finding the ark. You run through a Zaza portal, kill some zombies, and come out on the other side in a strange facility. I forgot to mention that all around this expansion there are brains on walls that you need to shoot to access other areas of the world. So with that being said, you blast a brain to open up a door. On the other side of that door is the ark Constantine was talking about. This mission has you clearing small areas and opening doors so you can shoot some of the brains that are causing issues inside of the ark. After you destroy all of the brains, you have to descend into the chamber where the base of the ark is and destroy destroy some more brains and fight some more zombies. After Constantine says some cryptic shit, you're blasted by the arc and you go through another series of flashbacks. Once the flashbacks end, you're back in Bel Air, safe and sound. Total runtime of the expansion is about 120 to 180 minutes and costs $12.99 USD or roughly $18 Canadian. If you skipped all the way to this part of the video, welcome to the promised land. Let's go ahead and talk about what I think. For this game's first expansion, holy shit, is it incredibly well made. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I didn't really have high hopes for an expansion in Dead Island 2. I love this game so much, but something about an expansion didn't really rub the right way with me. The only bad thing you're gonna hear me say about this is that I wish it was longer because it's a little on the short side. Like I just previously mentioned, it's about 120 to 180 minutes, so 2 to 2.5 hours long. The premise of the story centers around a billionaire's death cult, and you slowly figure out that these guys are being exploited for knowledge that no one else knows about. The story reminds me of an actual doomsday cult that existed here in the United States, Heaven's Gate. Those guys believe that if they sacrificed themselves to the aliens, they would be accepted into a celestial plane where they would be reincarnated as their extraterrestrial ancestors. This is almost no different, with people giving up their lives and making sacrifices for an AI named Constantine. The entire time you're constantly in a battle of believing Constantine and just not believing anything that he says. And just when you think you're done believing this dude, he says some shit that no one else should know besides you and whoever was around you. The new weapons you get in the game are super cool and really well made, and the map in the expansion, visually speaking, is the best we've seen in Dead Island 2 as a whole. We have elements of crazy doomsday prepper, secret society architecture, grotesque examples of overindulging in a lifestyle like this, and in the end, the only people who benefited were the ones with the least involvement. Also, for roughly $13, you get an expansion that brings to the table a story that will be expanded on in the future. As far as theories go, I have a few, but I don't want to say them right now. I need another playthrough or two before I can start drawing conclusions. So instead of talking about theories, how about I go ahead and just cover what I would love to see in the next expansion for Dead Island 2. Assuming that they follow the same storyline as Haus, I would love to see what happens whenever you wake back up in Bel Air. Because whenever you come to after the flashback, you have a white fluid that drips out of your eyes, very similar to the heads that you put back on the bodies inside of the house. Maybe this means that your character has to go on a hunt for the people who wronged you in the story that were a part of this death cult. Anybody who had any sort of association is now somebody you have to go talk to and confront, because this entire story changes everything for you. These guys know everything about you, to include before, during, and after the plane crash, on a plane that you weren't even supposed to be on. So yeah, moving forward, I would love to see some more in-depth crazy storytelling about that. There's got to be a way that you, the character, are connected to Constantine and why he is so avid on getting you in his little cult. Because he's an AI, he knows essentially everything about you digitally, right? I don't know, man, it's crazy as hell. However, if you're interested in playing this expansion, I'll have the link for it in the pinned comment below along with my Discord. Come say hello and let me know what you think. Speaking of what you think, are you vibing with the storyline or is it just overhype? Let me know down below. And since you're already in the neighborhood, go ahead and hit that like button, that sub button, and indoctrinate that notification bell for more content like this. And as always, my name is Redbeard Mortis. Speak loud, speak the truth, and I will see you in the next one.